Okay, redistribution of the symptom. Do you remember when we did the general systems theory and I talked with you about how when people got hospitalized and we sent them home, we noticed that they either got sick or somebody else in the family got sick. The symptom moved from one person to another. Remember the example of the man that wanted his wife to go into therapy because she was frigid, and as she got more sexually open, he became impotent. You see, the redistribution of the symptom went from one to another. We can intentionally do that. Isn't that something? It's so fun. And I tell you what, it's pretty skilled to be able to do that. To be able to do that. And when you do that, what might be helpful about intentionally giving a symptom from one family member to another family member? Why would that be helpful to anybody?
Understanding.
Yeah, you finally get to see what it's like to be on the receiving end of that. The price paid for that symptom, the price gained for that symptom. It helps you really get into somebody else's experience. Sometimes even it gets you out of your own part of the pattern, and then the clients go, oh my God, that's what I've been doing? Really? That's me? Okay. So redistribution of the symptom. Let me tell you a couple client stories now because these are very fun. Okay, so creating workable reality. This involves several of these. So we had this, I had this couple come in with a high school daughter. She had two older sisters who had the very same problem that was identified by mom and dad, especially mom, and they had both been in trouble too, and so now the third child, the other two are gone, third child is now having the same issues, and the issue is, well, the daughter says right away, my mom is psycho. She's psycho. We've always said she was psycho. She's psycho. And then a little bit later, so she describes to me that her mom follows her around town. She shows up at her friends' homes and her car. She walks up to the door. She knocks on the door. She says, where's my daughter? I want to talk to my daughter. And she calls everywhere. This was before cell phones. And yeah, she'll show up to school. Anyway, the mother just kind of shows up out of nowhere. And then she said to me, yeah, she said, we girls like to call her Columbo. So if I have a choice of reflecting back Psycho or Columbo, what reality gives me more options, would you say? Mom as a psycho or a mom as Columbo? Believe me, if you get offered a choice between Psycho and Columbo, you better take Columbo. Okay? That's what workable reality. So I reflect back to her, oh, Columbo, tell me more about this kind of playful TV character that your mom can be sometimes. Right? I didn't say tell me more about your mom being psycho. Okay? Now, had I really thought the mom had a mental illness, because I have had that happen too, I will get into the mental illness, but I'm not feeling that at this point. I'm also seeing a teenage girl who has a lot of secrets from her mom. So I start asking about Columbo and get to hear that that mom has, yeah, she's always kind of out to try to figure out different things, and she acts like she's a detective, and she runs around town, and she asks people questions, and this really bothers the girls because she's always asking questions of other people, and it's embarrassing and all that kind of stuff. So, so now she doesn't even mention Psycho the rest of our therapy sessions, multiple therapy sessions. I get her off of that term. So I help create a workable reality that I can work in. The other thing is, what a great metaphor for me. to use, because Columbo is what? He's a detective, and his job is to solve a mystery. I can use that. I can use that in my therapy. So, I say to the daughter, so mom and dad are talking about the fact that they're going to send her to a private school in Minnesota because they're so concerned about her. And she's misbehaving so badly, and her friends are bad, and she never comes home, and she never tells them where she's at. So, so in that process, I could see that dad felt more on the daughter's side than mom's side, and that mom was the one that was more concerned. And I even asked some of those are circular questions: who in the family is most concerned about who, then who, and then who. So one of the things that I did was at the end of that, about 45 minutes, I said, it's time to take a break. You're going to learn about Milan family therapy, taking a break. I said, so why don't you step out? But daughter, I need for you to leave, and I want to talk to your mom and dad alone. It's important that that we get a chance to have a bit of a conversation. What do you think the daughter's response to that was?
What are you going to say?
I'm not leaving. I'm staying right here. Whatever you have to say to them, you can say to me. Does that tell you a lack of boundaries? And who is she really talking about? My mom and I have no separation. We have no separation, and although I can't stand it, and I'm doing everything I can to get separation from her, you are not going to separate us. Isn't it just so cute? You don't even know what they're doing. She's fighting the very thing she wants. Power, right? Because she's way elevated in a parental relationship that she shouldn't be in. For one, she's mom's primary support system. For two, she is feeling smothered, but in that moment couldn't stand the idea of not being completely connected. Isn't that just fascinating? It's fascinating. So here's what happens. Remember how we talked about equilibrium and the status quo? A system will try to go back to its status quo, its same old, because it's what it knows, even when they don't want to. Even when they would just beg and do everything. Look at all the symptoms she has in trying to separate from her mom. Okay? So I said, well, something about, I just really need to talk to your mom and dad, and I'm sure that they will struggle without you, but I will help them. What's the message?
She doesn't need to be there. I mean,
she doesn't need to help them.
Your role.
Right.
You're not.
Boundary marking. Just that idea that, you know what, I'm guessing your mom and dad maybe do have a few issues, and you've been doing your thing so that you can help them come together. Because you know what mom and dad were all together about? Daughter's misbehavior. That's a bad spot for a daughter to have to keep mom and dad together through bad behavior. Okay? So I'm sending her the message, you know what, you're right. Your mom and dad have issues, but I'm going to try to pull you out of there. I'm going to help them. You don't have to. Okay? You hear what I'm doing here with the subsystems and trying to separate them out and develop some boundaries and a workable reality. Before she left, I said to her, also, I want you to know that Columbo would be taken off air if there were no more mysteries. And I excused her and told her she could go. Okay? And she was like, She didn't really get that. Do you get it?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What's the message?
She's not bad.
Yeah, if she doesn't leave all these mysteries for Mom or Columbo to try to figure out, just imagine if she's told Mom, hey, I'm going to go over to my friends and I'll be here from 9 to midnight. If you need me, come get me. Mom wouldn't have to go, right? Because she'd know where she was at. There's no mystery. Columbo doesn't have to exist without a mystery. So I'm saying to the daughter, yeah, you have some. You've been inviting her to do this whole Columbo thing. You can stop it if you want. But I don't tell her that directly. I do it subtly. I'm boundary mark. I kind of set that through those messages. So she goes out. I say to Mom and Dad, Mom, especially Mom, and I asked, I think I said to Dad, Dad, would you say your wife is available 24/7 or 20 hours a day or 15 hours a day or 10 hours a day to her daughters? What would you say? Oh, 24/7. I said, that's what I thought. I said, she is too accessible. She's always around. And she is sacrificing her own life. And I said, what was the last thing you did for you, Mom? And she said, can't remember anything. Because my life is about the girls or about, she did work at the business with her husband. So I said, why don't you, before I see you in 2 weeks, I would see him every 2 weeks, I want you to disappear one night. And you are not to tell anybody of your whereabouts except for your husband. It'll just be a secret between the two of you. She's like, I can't do that. I could never just disappear. And I said to her husband, is that true? Do you think she can't disappear? Do you think she could do that? Could you help her do that? And he's just laughing, and he's like, oh my God, she could do that. He's like, I know exactly what to do about that. And so she did it because he helped her. I got them to kind of help. They got a little plan on how. I was like, oh, you think she could do that? How do you think she could do that? And she's just like, oh, I can't do that. I got to be there for my family 24/7. I'm like, I don't think 24/7 is really what's needed when you've got two that are living elsewhere and one that's a teenager trying to, yeah, okay. So you guys get that, right? So I said to also, before they left the room, so we had this plan, so before they left the room, I also said, would you